viewers. Today we have with us Kallol Bhattacherjee, who is the senior assistant editor on the team of The Hindu. So, welcome, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yes, sir. Sir, our topic of discussion today will be the freedom of press and how it has, the fourth being the fourth pillar. Is it doing justifying the job? Is it doing the media doing the right job? This is the mainly the topic of interview, and with BBC released a documentary last night that was taken down by YouTube. The name of the documentary was Ram Ke Naam, and which, the documentary tried to explore the Modi's incomplete government of that time, and how its propagation of the Hinduism forces against the Muslim civilians. So, sir, do you think it has, by taking down YouTube, taking it down, do you think that the freedom of expression for the press is curtailed?
Well, I would begin by saying that while it's traditionally understood that media is the fourth pillar of democracy or the state itself at some certain points, the media is also highly diverse and it's also increasingly complex in its nature. So I would be a little bit cautious about, what exactly are we looking at here? Is it the print or nowadays we have the new media, the digital media, and people do have a great deal of freedom, especially of freedom of deciding on what sort of news one wants to watch and what sort of news one, as a journalist and as a reporter, one would like to do or report. These are essentially individual choices that reporters and editors have to do. And I think there is great elbow space available for expression or freedom of expression, or when it comes to reporting of news, even today, available in democracies, including major democracies like ours. But having said that, in this particular context that you have referred to, it appears that the British Broadcasting Corporation has not really done the appropriate thing by pulling down this particular documentary, the one that you are referring to. And we are also witnessing the other documentary, which is making the headlines in the program called Panorama, where they showcased the documentary on the 2002 Gujarat riots. And there are reports that that documentary has been uploaded on YouTube by multiple sources, and
Yes.
those are being pulled down by YouTube. And the BBC has been denying that it has actually uploaded the interview at all. I think when a media organization like the BBC comes, at such a point where it has to concede that it has actually never uploaded the documentary, despite evidences suggesting otherwise. It really indicates that perhaps freedom of expression is not really as vast as it used to be earlier, especially for even legendary organizations like the BBC.
Definitely, sir. So, with the release of Press Information Bureau of flagging anything and everything that that it finds false, how would it affect the media as a whole?
You see, it is not really the job of the government to come into the space of the media and dictate what is right or wrong. It is really the editorial space that's available to the media, and it's the task of the editors of organizations or even reporters to determine. It's not really the task of the Press Information Bureau. The Press
Um,
Information Bureau exists to provide information about the working of the government, the structuring of the government, and the state organs and agencies, their functions and their priorities. But I don't really think it is their job at all to dictate to the media or tell the media what it has to do or what it has to publish. They are absolutely welcome to share their opinions and their press announcements. But when it comes to choosing of the news and selecting the news and putting it out for the general public, especially for the private media, that is, it's the job of the media professionals. It's the job of the editors and reporters. So that area is sacrosanct when it comes to the operability of the media.
So, sir, coming back to the documentary again, how important do you think is it to release documentaries like Ram Ke Naam in today's media's climate?
Well, I mean, it's if a documentary passes the test of viewership acceptance, then what really stops it from being screened, for a certain audience? I think it really up to the audience to accept or reject the documentary or even any film. So I don't think that the state really has much of a say when it comes to works of art or works of public opinion or works that have an influence on the public at large. Because in our kind of democracies that are based on liberal principles, that is, liberal democratic principles, uh, these sort of works of art have been accepted for perhaps as long as we can look back to the history of liberal democracies in the world.
So, so my final question to you is, can you comment on the today's current media environment? Is it good? Is it bad? How will it be in the future? Is it in danger?
Well, media has always been a challenging profession. Even if you look back India's national struggle, I mean, all our big leading figures, whether it is Lokmanya Tilak, Mahatma Gandhi, or even Tagore, though he was a poet, I mean, he had to bear the burden of being a kind of a media figure as well, because he was also an active author and writer, columnist, and he often came under criticism for his views, like on nationalism, for example. So media has always been a challenging profession, and getting information from any source or any public officer or any state functionary is not an easy job. So,
Definitely.
um, and that is also the perhaps the fun of being a media professional. That's it. It's a job that challenges the abilities of the practitioner at a continuous basis. So I would say that it's never been an easy profession. It's not, in fact, in this time and age, where the economy is a major issue, no profession perhaps can be described as an easy profession. But considering that media has daily interaction with the powers that be, this profession is particularly under stress. But I'm quite hopeful because this profession has really been part of the democratic process. And I think, howsoever the level of stress may be, media will endure, just like democracy and the state itself.
Thank you so much for your insightful comments, sir. And so, with this, we wrap up this interview. This was Kallol Bhattacherjee, a senior assistant editor in The Hindu, who does a diplomatic affair conversations in his day to day life. Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Welcome.